Friday, time for my live stream. I've been looking for a window of time for the past hour to do it. It's been very noisy in my house, but it's a little less noisy now and people are leaving. So this is kind of like my one shot to do it between 2 and 3, which is when I usually try to do it on Fridays. So I've actually got a whole stack of new pickups here. I don't know how many I'll get through, but there's actually a brand that I got 5 fragrances from that I've never had a fragrance of theirs, but I have seen their YouTube shorts, and I bet you have as well. And then there's another brand we're familiar with, and then just some odds and ends sprinkled in here. I did get a couple of Bond number 9 fragrances to try that I'd never even heard of before, and so going to be checking all those things out. As we get ready to roll, be sure to comment and like when you come in. Let me know, what is your scent of the day? Mine is Generic Perfume's version of Boadicea the King, which is a plum, I think, oud, leather, spice fragrance in the family of something like Plum Japonais, but also a lot of differences. It's really good stuff. And then as we go, what I'll do is I'll hit a couple of fragrances, then I'll jump into your questions or comments, then go back to fragrances, so on and so forth. So I hope you're ready for this. All right. So what I'll show you first is just this brand that, again, I didn't know anything about them. Apparently they're well known in some parts of the world because some of their YouTube videos have literally millions of views, some of their YouTube shorts. But they reached out to me and said, hey, can we send you some fragrances? I said, sure. And so anyway, tell me if you have seen this before. I don't know how this is going to come through, showing a phone on the camera here, but I'll just show it for a second because I think it's funny. You read the comments on these videos and it's kind of hilarious. So tell me if you've seen this before. This is how to make Dior Sauvage. So in the comments, people are like, get an orange, spray some stuff in a bottle, Dior Sauvage. So anyway, that is the brand. They're called Chez Pierre. And they do a lot of clone fragrances. And their bottles, unsurprisingly, look exactly like they did in the video. Pretty good build quality. I mean, somewhat generic looking as far as it's a stock bottle, but it's quality. Very good quality atomizer too, like a pressurized atomizer. That is a spray right there. So anyway, I'll just talk about the one I picked up first. This one's actually a dupe of Spice Bomb, a very good alternative to Spice Bomb. I have the original Spice Bomb here. I haven't done side by side yet, but without question, if someone were to spray that and you catch a whiff of it like I just did, you would have no doubt that it's Spice Bomb. So I'm going to do a little side by side here. I love the original Spice Bomb. It is probably my number 3 favorite. I like all of them pretty much, but and I have all of them. But the original, you just can't beat it. I think it's super versatile. You can wear it, in my opinion, anytime other than like the hottest days of summer. You know, I probably wear it warmer weather than most people do. So anyway, of course, this is a spicy, sweet, woody fragrance with, you got some citrus in the top. You've got a good dose of tobacco, like a sweet tobacco. So here is Chez Pierre, which is very, very similar. I'm going to compare it to the OG here. And I won't take this much time with all of them, but this is one of the ones I'm most impressed with. There's a couple of these that are actually very good. I've got a discount code in the description if anybody is interested. So right off the top, I would say I mean, they are so very close. I have worn the Chez Pierre version a lot. I've probably worn it, you know, 4 times in the past couple weeks since I got it. And I really like it. It seems to perform pretty well. I mean, you can see how much I've worn. This is what a full bottle of one of them looks like. So, you know, I've worn it a lot. I really like it. If you like the original Spice Bomb, they are very close. I don't know how to put a percentage on it, but I'm just telling you they're very close. So really good alternative to Spice Bomb. There's a couple others out there, but there's not like, I haven't tried the Fragrance World OG Spice Bomb dupe. I think it's just called, anyway, I have this Spice Bomb Extreme dupe, and it's got the same name as that one, except it's in a blue bottle instead of an orange bottle. But I have like 4 clones of Spice Bomb. Most of them are on the cheaper end, and without question, this is the best dupe of Spice Bomb I've tried by a pretty good margin. So anyway, Chez Pierre Spice Bomb. Some of the ones that I thought were pretty interesting that they make. So they do a version of, let's see, where is it? Did I lose it? Oh, yeah, so they do Maison Martin Margiela Jazz Club and Coffee Break. They do their version of those two. And so you can see the Jazz Club one I've worn quite a bit as well. The Coffee Break one I haven't worn as much, but it's been warmer here. So to me, this is like a real, you know, a cold weather fragrance, although it surprisingly does have some freshness in it. I have, of course, I've smelled the originals of both of those. We've got a couple malls here that have some really good department stores, but I don't own either of these. But from what I can tell you, I like, without question, I like this better than this. So Fragrance World's version of Jazz Club that came out maybe 6 months ago or so, it's good-ish. I haven't really worn it that much. You can tell. To me, the sandalwood in this was so dominant that it almost had like a Santal 33 vibe or something. So I don't know, it kind of ruined the fragrance for me. I've said that before on videos. It doesn't smell bad. It smells like Jazz Club, but just with more, I think it's sandalwood that I'm getting, and it doesn't have as much sweetness as Jazz Club, but it does have that like cigar tobacco with a touch of ashiness. But on the other hand, this one, even though it's really similar to the one that I just showed you, it is a little bit sweeter, and therefore I think it's actually a little closer to Jazz Club. So I'm going to spray it out. Yeah, I definitely, I don't get that overdose of sandalwood that I get in the Fragrance World. Let me know if you have the Fragrance World or if you've tried it and if you can relate to what I'm saying. There's almost like, it's just a touch too dry. It doesn't have, you know, Jazz Club's not a super sweet tobacco fragrance, but it does have a decent bit of sweetness. And to me, you know, without having the original here, I think this one's closer. So that's their version of Jazz Club. And then Coffee Break, you know, I'm less familiar with Coffee Break. I smelled it, I think, one time, to be honest with you, just out in the mall, you know. But this one, Morning Coffee, actually reminds me a little bit of Halloween Man X, to the point, I want to do side by side here, to the point that I almost, whenever I wore this a couple days ago, I thought, man, I don't know if you need this if you have Halloween Man X. So let me try them side by side here, see if memory is serving well. Oh, that's really good. Yeah, I take that back. I don't think it, maybe it's not that close to Halloween Man X. Halloween Man X has a particular kind of roasted coffee note. It's almost like a slightly burned coffee bean. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, Starbucks burns their coffee beans. It's not my favorite coffee. Yeah, so they're close. I would say Halloween Man X definitely has a little more of that roasted coffee kind of a note, and a touch more freshness. Although, surprisingly, Morning Coffee, their version of Coffee Break, actually does have a little bit of that freshness as well. I think it comes from lavender or some other kind of aromatic note like that, but it's pretty good. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was cool that they do dupes of Maison Martin Margiela fragrances. You don't see a ton of clones of their fragrances, except for, of course, By the Fireplace. There's a bunch of those. A couple others here, and then I want to show you, I guess we'll go to the Bond number 9 fragrances next. So this one, Oudly Satisfied. This is actually Tom Ford Tobacco Oud. And so again, I don't own the original. I have smelled it in the stores, of course. I actually just smelled it in the store a couple days ago because I got this in and I wanted to kind of compare them and see how close they are. I will tell you that having worn this one, the oud in this fragrance, and I think this is true of the original, I think I like this one better on paper than I do on skin. Let me spray a little bit on skin here. The oud in it actually reminded me a lot of the oud in Bond number 9 Andy Warhol. I don't know, there's something about it that doesn't work great with my body chemistry. And I know that tobacco oud is kind of a love it or hate it kind of fragrance. I will tell you, it's sweet, it's spicy, I think it has chocolate in it. Let me see if I pulled up the notes. So it's definitely a sweet, spicy fragrance, but to me, I get more oud than I do tobacco. All these I'm liking better. Whenever I first got them, the first week I had them, I wore each of them a couple times, and they're hitting me different today. I think they've macerated a little the last 2 weeks. They've sweetened up a little, and I'm actually liking this one a little more. I'm not getting there's a certain funkiness in Dua's dupe of Andy Warhol from the oud that I really didn't like, and this had that initially. A little bit, not as much as the Andy Warhol, but now that I'm smelling them again, it's actually, it's more just sort of that dark, sweet, spicy goodness. And again, having smelled the original at the mall last weekend, it's pretty close. I can't put a number on it. I can't do side by side, but, pretty close. I would say definitely if you like tobacco oud, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people hate tobacco oud. But if you like it, you'd probably really like this one, Oudly Satisfied. Another fragrance you don't see a ton of brands duping. That's why I chose that one. So anyway, one more, and then we're going to go to your questions and comments, and then we'll hit some Bond number 9. And then I have a whole nother brand, if we have time, that I'm going to get to that I got 4 or 5 fragrances from a week or 2 ago. All right, so this one I was pretty excited about it as well because, again, if you're noticing a theme, what I tried to do, they asked me if I wanted to pick a couple fragrances, and I picked ones that you don't see a lot of dupes of. And this one puzzles me. Why doesn't Armaf or Lattafa or Fragrance World or Rasasi or Afnan, why doesn't anybody do a dupe of Virgin Island water? And let me just say this as a side note. If you don't have Virgin Island water or a dupe of Virgin Island water, it's in that like top 10 incredible, maybe top 20 incredible fragrances that you probably want to add to your collection. Like, I like it better than Le Beau. I've got Le Beau, I've got the Parfum, I've got a bunch of the Le Male fragrances, but Paradise Garden. But I like it better than all of those summery, Le Beau style fragrances. It's just the sort of lime coconut, very, sweet coconut, citrusy vibe, and the booze. I think it's like a white rum note. It's awesome. It is, to me, it's one of the best. It's a sweet fragrance, so some people would say it's not a good summer scent, but to me, I love Virgin Island water. I actually like layering it with things. You can layer it. I like layering it with like an Elysium style fragrance, or even like Sauvage, or something like even Bleecker Street. Something that is green, aromatic, mixing with that sweet booziness is phenomenal. So they do a really good dupe of Virgin Island water. Again, you can tell I've been wearing the crap out of this one. I've really liked it. So I've got, I think, 4 clones of virgin olive water. I've got generic perfumes here. That's the one I'm comparing it to. I actually have a couple of theirs. I've got their standard, and then I have, I think, their A plus or their A plus plus. They're very similar. I would just say generic perfumes A plus or plus plus, whichever one I have, is more dense. It's more weighty, and so therefore probably stronger. But this one's like a good solid EDP strength virgin olive water, sweet, tropical, boozy. It is such an awesome DNA. I don't know why in the world. Like, I would say if a company is thinking about cloning a Ventus, skip it, because there's already 50,000 of those, and clone virgin olive water. It's just such an awesome. The lime, there's a sweet lime and coconut in the opening, and and then the other notes start to come out with that booziness that is just awesome. And again, if you want to compare it to something people are familiar with, a lot of people would say it's like LeBeau, but it's really not. And it sure as heck is not like St. Bart's. Tommy Bahama, St. Bart's, they are actually very different. So if you have heard that, which we've all heard that, St. Bart's is, I don't know, 70% similar. So really good dupe of virgin olive water as well. So that's 5 from Chez Pierre. Again, I got a discount code and a link in the description if you're interested in checking that out. All right, so these two, this is pretty cool. I took my sons in Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom and just hit up all the niche counters. I love doing that, seeing what's new, but also just, enjoying fragrances. Especially if I get a new dupe of something, I like to go and see if memory serves me well that my clone is decent. But anyway, at the Bond number 9 desk, they gave me a couple of Bond number 9 samples. Have you guys seen these? They're like little candies that are rolled up. So anyway, this is Beekman Place and Governor's Island. I'm going to tell you the notes. We'll start with Governor's Island. It's a amber musk fragrance. You've got incense and resins in the top. You've got ambroxan and cedar in the mid, and you've got white musk and vetiver in the base. And so let's go ahead and open up this little candy here. And before we spray it, I'm going to interact with you guys a little bit. All right. So do I like Oud Wood from Tom Ford? I do like Oud Wood from Tom Ford. I think it's an interesting, fresher take on oud. It reminds me a little bit of fabric softener. There's some Lily of the Valley in there that is probably as strong as the oud. And the oud is really more of a clean oud. And so, yeah, it's like a perfect spring oud fragrance in my opinion. Spring and fall. To me, it's not the best representation of oud really, because it's got a lot of freshness. It's very clean. I think it's a great fragrance. It's a great, you got your stuff together if you're wearing oud wood. It gives that kind of a feel like, somebody who is, you know what I mean? It's elegant. It smells, I guess you could say expensive. It smells like, someone who has really got their stuff together. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. All right. Let's see. Would ombre leather be more of a hot weather scent? I would say definitely not. Ombre leather, I would say, would be more of a cool weather scent because it's a strong, realistic leather. I think there's some cardamom in there as well, maybe some saffron. So it's kind of like a dark leather fragrance with spice. You can wear what you want when you want. So if it works for you in warm weather, go for it. I mean, seriously. But to me, in hot weather, I like things that are a little brighter, a little more fruity. There's my noisy house I told you about. But, so for me, I'm reaching for something a little fresher. Although I do like sweet fragrances in in the summer. If you want a leather fragrance for hot weather, get Kenzo Ohm EDP, the 2022 version. That is fire. It's like an aquatic blue fragrance with a powerful, strong, natural leather note. Almost like an ombre leather style leather mixed with an aquatic, kind of sweet aquatic blue fragrance. It is phenomenal. Let's see here. Any dupes for oud wood? There's some great ones. I would say the best one is, it's made by Dumont. It's called Borouge Lamasat Oud. You know, Google it best you can by spelling that, but Borouge Lamasat Oud. I've got several, but to me, as far as quality goes, you're not going to top this. This is phenomenal quality. I actually like it better. It's a little deeper than Fragrance World's. I forget what theirs is called. Oud Wonder. There's a couple others that are, you know, like Latafa, Maison Alhambra's got one. And they're all good, and they're all close enough to the Tom Ford. But this one, like, you'll pay a little more. It's maybe 45, 50 bucks, but it is absolutely worth it. Super strong, long lasting, and it's just a richer fragrance profile than the Maison Alhambra or the Fragrance World. I can't remember if I have any others at the moment, but all right. What else we got? Good picks for first fragrances. What are you asking about here? Oh, Chez Pierre, good picks. Yeah, I would say a brand like this is a good pick because, you know, they're inexpensive for what you get. I mean, these are, I think, 50 ml bottles, and I've only tried 5, but there's not a single one of them that I would say, oh, they totally missed it, or it's poor quality, or it doesn't last. Like, they're all going to be on par, or honestly, most of the time better than you're going to get from like an Armaf, a Latafa, a Fragrance World. So I would say they would be a good option. The only question is, where do you live in the world? They ship from several places depending on where you live. I think mine came from Serbia, and so they took about a week and a half to get to me. So check out, I think you get free shipping if you spend a certain amount of money. So, you know, it's up to you. There's a lot of options for beginners. You could go on my channel and look at like some of my, you know, like best fragrances from 2024, 24 fragrances from 2024. I got a lot of videos like that where I lay out, you know, cheap, good fragrances that you could go to. I'll hit a couple more of your comments and then we'll dive into some more fragrances here. I'm looking for a good lemon and mint affordable dupe or something. Let's see, lemon and mint. Trying to remember it, you know, a decent one would be this. This is inexpensive and it's actually really good quality. It just came out. Paris Corner Emir Vu Zingi. This is a dupe of Xerjoff Torino 21, and it is a citrus mint fragrance. It's got a pretty realistic mint leaf. ZOHA Aroma also does a really good dupe of that same fragrance. If you like something that is lemon and mint, you would probably like this, although, oh no, check this out. This is pretty good. This is a little more expensive, but it is fire. This is an incredible fragrance. Mancera Oud Lemon Mint. Very good stuff. A little on the sweeter side, but it's strong, it's long lasting. It's a niche fragrance. You can get these little bottles for usually about 60 bucks. But you can get 120 ml, which is a huge bottle, for like, you know, 75, 80 bucks. But the other one I was going to reach for is this one. This one is not lemon mint, but it's lemon and violet leaf and some black pepper. And then you've got like a tiramisu note as well. It's a weird summer fragrance, but I love it. And a lot of people really love it. It's Ferragamo Uomo Casual Life. It's a freshie with a gourmand flair. Really cool. Really cheap too. Usually like 35, 40 bucks for the big bottle. All right. Let's see what else we got. Please suggest a special compliment-getting perfume. Gosh, you know, compliment getters, I'll tell you one, my most complimented fragrance of, I think of last year, was actually a spice bomb. And it's one that a lot of people say they hate, but here's the thing. If you're a fragrance enthusiast, you probably like things that are a little more unique and unusual. And so a lot of frag heads don't highly praise compliment getters. I mean, if you grab something like, you know, Paco Rabanne Phantom, it's a good compliment-getting fragrance. The one that I was going to say is Spice Bomb Night Vision EDT, which is actually it's an Aventus style fragrance, but it's got a lot of really unique qualities as well. But that one is, you know, almost every time I wore it last year, I got a compliment. It projects like a monster, especially for the first 3-4 hours. And man, people love it. It's a real compliment getting fragrance. So I could give a bunch of others, but go to my channel and look at it came out the end of December, most complimented of 2024. I have some more unique stuff in there as well that kind of surprised me that it ended up being a complimented fragrance. A new, unusual fragrance that is actually shockingly good for compliments is Oud Maracuja and dupes of that fragrance. It's really surprising that people, I don't know why, but people love it. Maybe it's just my body chemistry, but it's loud. And it's an oud-based fragrance, but it is I think it's passion fruit. Yeah, passion fruit is the dominant note. It's this dark, inky oud leather patchouli, but somehow you mix that with a very sweet, fruity passion fruit, and it's this intoxicating scent. So I love it. So anyway, something to consider. Not a good summer scent, that's for sure. All right, let me hit these Bond number 9 fragrances here. This is Governor's Island. I haven't actually smelled it yet. I just unwrapped it. So first impression here. Very, very clean, which is what I expected. Very light. You know, it's musk and resins with ambroxan and I think some black pepper. So not a lot to it. It's been compared to Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume, and it has that kind of a vibe. So it's clean, it's very transparent, very airy. You know, I would never buy this personally. Again, this is one of these little samples in one of these little candy wrappers from Bond number 9. But so I would never buy it just because I've got a lot of fragrances. To be honest, if you want something like this, like Governor's Island, something that has, to me, a stronger fragrance that is dirt cheap, this right here, I got this off Amazon. It's basically pure ambroxan and fragrance alcohol. And man, it's powerful. Like 3 sprays of this and you'll be second guessing whether you put too much on. And I think I paid $22 for this on Amazon. So Myris, there's a lot of different brands do their version of, it's basically Molecule 01. What's that brand called that does, you know, they have Molecule 01 is ambroxan, Molecule 02 is ISOE Super. So anyway, Governor's Island from Bond number 9, I'm not super impressed with. I would say grab something like this and you'll do just as good. Let me know if you have it though. You might love it and that's totally cool. But to me in this moment, and I am smelling some other strong stuff here that I've been spraying. So maybe, you know, maybe that's why my senses are a little deadened and I'm not getting a lot out of it. All right, let's try this other one. This next one is Beekman Place. And I got the notes pulled up for that one as well, if I can find it. Well, I did. Oh, there it is. All right. This one's got a lot more going on. This one's kind of a fresh, spicy fragrance. Notes for Bond number 9 Beekman Place. You've got pear, pineapple, blackcurrant, bergamot. Sounds good. I like pear, pineapple, blackcurrant. That's a good combo. In the mid, you've got watery notes, driftwood, basil, lemon, pepper, and geranium. So fruity, fresh, spicy. I like it. Aquatic. And then in the base, you've got musk, sandalwood, tonka bean, leather, patchouli, oak moss, and amber. I might really like this one, actually. There's some notes in there that I could definitely see myself enjoying. So as I'm getting this ready, I'll hit a couple of your comments. Is Camera from Lattafa good? Yeah, it is fire. I love it. My wife loves it. It is a compliment magnet. It's loud. I've heard some people say newer formulations have performance issues, but I got my bottle shortly after it came out. It is a monster. You know, 3-4 sprays, you're filling a room. It'll still, if I spray it on at 8 o'clock at night, it's still there before I get in the shower, 7 o'clock the next morning. Like, it is an incredible fragrance. It's sweet, spicy, nowhere near as boozy as Angel's Share. It's got some differences. It's also got a sweet dates note that also separates it from Angel's Share. And there's other fragrance, like there's I think a Gisa fragrance that some people say it's closer to, but it's a great scent. You know, you can't deny that. It's a great scent. Let's see what else we got. Question for you. I just got Parfums of Marley Percival. Am I going nose blind or really only getting 1 hour of performance? You are not the only person who's had performance issues from Percival, and you very well may be going nose blind. It's definitely a fragrance chemical heavy fragrance. I would be very shocked if it actually only performs for an hour. If there's anybody in your family, like if there's a male in your family, let them wear it and check it out 4 hours later, see if you can smell it on them, or your significant other, you know, have them smell you 4 hours later, see if they can smell it. But it smells fantastic. There's no doubt about that. And there's actually a really good dupe of it that I think people have kind of misdiagnosed what this one is a dupe of. This Mercedes fragrance, I think, is a dupe of Percival. It's pretty close to Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, but it's a little closer to Percival, and there are a lot of people who say it is. This is Mercedes-Benz Man, and it is incredible. If you like that aromatic, fresh, spicy, kind of sweet, aquatic vibe, I guess musky, that's how you would describe it. This is actually really good. So yeah, have someone else check out your Percival, and you'll know if you're going nose blind or if it's actually just watered down with reformulation. All right, looking for Armani Acqua di Gio Absolu Instinct clone. Okay, I know Acqua di Gio Absolu, I know of a dupe that's really cheap, but it's decent. It's got a little bit of a synthetic cheap edge, and it's actually from Belcam. Parfums Belcam did an Acqua di Gio Absolu clone. You can probably get for $9 on Amazon if you're in the US. A lot of people rag on Belcam because they're cheap, but they have some incredible fragrances. Let me know in the chat if you've tried any of their stuff. Absolute Instinct, though, I don't actually know of a dupe. So anybody else in the chat who knows, you know, let us know if you've got a recommendation there. All right, tell us about Nishane Hacivat. So I have Hacivat, and this will be the last question before I go back to fragrances. So it is to me, it's a patchouli fragrance. To me, that's the note that separates it from Credaventus or Cedrat Boisé, which they may have patchouli, I don't know, but the patchouli in this fragrance is sort of the standout. It's an earthy patchouli, and then layered on top of that, you've got some green aromatic notes. You've got, of course, some pineapple and blackcurrant in the opening. And so I absolutely love it. It is probably I don't know, I mean, definitely one of the best spring fragrances ever made. It is fantastic. It lasts forever. Definitely one of the longest lasting spring fragrances, probably a 12-hour fragrance. It's an extrait de parfum, so Nishane's fragrances are strong and long lasting. And there's now a really good dupe of Hacivat, and that is one of the new Hawas fragrances. There's two differences that I can tell with this fragrance and the OG. Whoa, about to knock all my crap over. Too many fragrances surrounding me. This one is actually a really good dupe of Hacivat. It is a touch more earthy, that of course from the patchouli, and a touch sweeter, which you would think if it was more earthy it'd be less sweet. But to my nose, a touch sweeter and a touch more earthy, but it's strong too. I mean, this is probably, if not a 12-hour fragrance, probably a 10-hour fragrance. I mean, it is potent. I just sprayed it on the strip, and pineapple, blackcurrant, patchouli right away. It's just a very oily fragrance. I don't know if you can tell, but it smells great. So some of the dupes that are coming out are kind of making these legendary niche fragrances almost obsolete. That's bittersweet, right? You know, it's good that more people can access these DNAs, but it's a little bit of a bummer in some sense. Maybe it's not a bummer, I don't know. It's just sentimental, I guess. But Hacivat is fantastic, but honestly, if you get Hawas Black, you probably don't need Hacivat. So anyway, all right, next up on these Bond number 9 fragrances, Beekman Place. Again, I haven't smelled this one. I like the look of the notes. So let's see what we got going on. That's interesting. Now I have just smelled like 15 fragrances here, so my nose may be playing tricks on me. Okay, interesting, yeah. People are comparing it to just Y EDT, the original. They're comparing it to Invictus Aqua, not so much. But it's definitely in the family of something like Y EDT. Whenever I read those notes, now that I'm thinking about it, I get it, and I see why it smells like it does. But I'm thinking, you know, pear, pineapple, blackcurrant, you know, pepper, geranium, leather, tonka bean, patchouli, amber. I was thinking it would be a little less of a freshie, but it's pretty fresh and definitely in the family. You do get some of the leather and woods. It smells good. You know, the first one I wasn't super impressed with, whatever that one was called, Governor's Island. But this one is good. I mean, at Bond number 9 prices, I probably wouldn't buy it. But it smells actually really good. Very clean. Not as complex smelling at all as the note breakdown would lead you to believe, but you know, smells awesome. Let me know in the chat if you've tried it before. All right, I'm about to run out of time. There's maybe one or two other fragrances I want to show you that are super cool that I want to make you aware of. All right, let's see here. The average person has no idea about perfumes, only stuff they see at Macy's. That's true. Yeah, you know, we are a rare, interesting breed of folk who are obsessed with fragrances. My wife doesn't get it. She's a therapist, and so I tell her this is like aromatherapy. I mean, I can't tell you how many fragrances I have legitimately a mood associated with. There are fragrances that make me happy. Cedrat Boisé is one of them. But on the other end of the spectrum, red tobacco is one of them. So I have memories associated, plus I just love certain things about certain fragrances. Let me know in the chat, what are some of your happy fragrances? Or some of your, yeah, just kind of feel good, maybe good memory kind of fragrances. So this is aromatherapy for me. Obviously, it's way overboard. Nobody needs this many fragrances. You know, if you have 5 fragrances that you like, then you're set, you know. But I'm talking to the wrong crowd with that kind of nonsense. So anyway, so this is actually pretty cool. So ZOHA Aroma just did a series of releases of discontinued fragrances. And so they've done that before, Oh, and I don't know what I'm allowed to say about this. I need to find out. They probably want me to talk about it. I just don't know yet. I got the list of upcoming releases from Fragrance Buy, and I do know that there are new FOMO fragrances coming out. And I like that FOMO has picked a couple, maybe just one. Maybe it's only Gucci Envy that they did that was discontinued. But I love whenever a clone brand picks a discontinued scent and clones it. I think that is brilliant. I think they should do a lot more of that. So anyway, from ZOHA, they just did a whole series of discontinued scents, and I have 3 of them here. Some of your happy fragrances, you've got Mental Intense Cafe, and then my favorite of all time is Psychedelic Love. I've never smelled that before. I don't know what that is. So anyway, yeah, let me know who makes that. I've heard of it, but I don't know what that is. So, all right. So anyway, here's from ZOHA Aroma. We've got, they actually are now doing a version of Gucci Envy. It's called Emerald Mist. I'm going to do a full video on these. I just got them. I barely even worn them. This one is a lot different from FOMO though. FOMO Envy, the Envy of FOMO. Like this is a lot different. So I don't know which one is more accurate because I never smelled Gucci Envy, but Gucci Envy is a fresh, spicy barbershop with some leather and tobacco in the base, and I get all of that. You know, it is very much it's a complex barbershop with some real kind of bass notes. This one, on the other hand, honestly, there's a little bit of a vibe of like Xerjoff Torino 21. It's got more of that style of freshness. So I need to wear it more before I talk about it too much, but this is much cleaner to me than the Envy of FOMO. If you have Gucci Envy and the Envy of FOMO, let me know if it's close. I've heard that it's close. And so if it's super close, then the one from ZOHA here probably isn't, but I just don't know. I'm going to have to lean on other people's expertise there. This one's pretty cool. This is a discontinued fragrance that sells for like $500 or $600 on eBay. Let me pull it up here. It is a Givenchy fragrance. Let's see. It's Givenchy Play, but it's Givenchy Play Intense. So they did their version of that, but let me pull it up here. Givenchy Play Intense. People love this fragrance. I think I saw it for like $600 or something like that. But anyway, it looks like sort of an MP3 player. You can tell that this is an old school fragrance. It's a little dated by the looks of that MP3 player. But so this was a 2008 release, you know, which is about what you'd think from that MP3 player there. But the notes, it's a warm, spicy coffee fragrance with surprisingly a good bit of freshness. In the top, you've got mandarin orange, bergamot. You've got in the mid, coffee, pink pepper, amyris. And then in the base, tonka bean, patchouli, vetiver, and labdanum. And so theirs is called Dark Rhythm. And I've never seen these bottles from ZOHA before. They're like the 15 ml, I think. But they're pretty nice for a little bottle like this. My camera's doing that thing where it's reversing everything, so I need to figure out how to fix that. But anyway, yeah, this is really good. It's I need to wear it more. I'll do a full review, but I see why people loved Givenchy Play Intense. It's an interesting mix of sort of like it's got some coffee and some sweetness, some of those darker notes, tonka bean, but it's also got some brightness from that mandarin orange, lemon. So really good stuff. To be continued. I'll probably get a video out in the next week or so on Dark Rhythm and these others. And then finally, this is one I was pretty excited about. I love the original Dior Fahrenheit. I love Les Parfums. I have that, and this one is a dupe of Fahrenheit 32. Pull up the notes here. Fahrenheit 32. So this is definitely a fresher fragrance, but it's got some sweetness as well. So the notes are, all they give you is orange blossom, vetiver, and vanilla on Fragrantica, but their version of Fahrenheit 32 is called Frosted 32. It smells really good. I need to wear it. I've just sprayed it on my arm a couple times. I haven't had it for long, but I like the fact that they are picking these interesting, very much, you know, fragrance lover. You would almost think they're limiting the appeal, the audience that it's going to hit by some of these choices. But it smells really good. There's kind of like a little bit of like a lactonic kind of creamy feel to it, but there's also a touch of, I guess there's a little bit of the violet leaf. So it's, I don't know, it's a little bit of a conundrum. It's like a combo of like a fresh floral, and then it's got some weight from that vanilla. So anyway, check that out. Let me hit a couple of your questions here. Capo is rocking Prada Lusa Sport. All right, Jerome Lawson says, I am a beautiful trans woman. All right, man. You do you. Colbert says, I own Aqua de Jo Parfum, Versace Flame, Sauvage, Spice Bomb, Le Beau, Offnon 9 p.m., Ralph's Club. What should I wear to prom next week? Ooh, good question. I mean, out of those, yeah, I don't know, man. I would probably go with either Spice Bomb. I don't know. Maybe it depends on the temperature where you're at. They're all actually some pretty good choices. I would probably not wear Versace Eros Flame, only because that herbal, I like Eros Flame. I have it, but you know, not everybody likes it. So, you know, you want to be sure you're wearing something that your date digs. Women tend to love the Aqua de Jo fragrances. Same with Spice Bomb. That's also, you know, one that she's probably going to like. So I would probably go with one of those, although Sauvage, to me, smells amazing. I love Sauvage. A lot of people say that it's played out. If you wear Sauvage, you run the risk of other guys at the prom smelling just like you. Probably less so with Spice Bomb. Aqua de Jo, you know, the Parfum's got a little bit going on that'll be different from a lot of guys. So it's up to you. Ultimately, I would probably go with Spice Bomb if I were you. Out of your choices, of course, Le Beau smells awesome as well. You got a good small collection there, a good variety. All right, let's see here. Plume Impression Murmur. I guess that is your happy fragrance. I am totally unfamiliar with it, man. There's so many amazing fragrances out there that I know nothing about, because at this point, there are hundreds of thousands of fragrances probably that have been made. Frederick says, I would never have thought that I would like a rose-dominant fragrance like Intense Cafe. See, I didn't know that it was a rose-dominant fragrance. I have come to love rose fragrances lately. Like, I would say my top 3 right now are rose fragrances. I like rose with some spice, rose with some oud, rose with some tobacco, like something dark, sweet, spiky with a powerful, dark, thick rose is incredible. So, all right, I got a whole pile of stuff here, but I actually do need to end the stream. Thank you so much for joining. Please like and comment. Thank you for engaging with these. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you live next Friday between 2 and 3. And I got videos coming out every couple days. So I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, guys.